All right, we about to get it rolling. You ready?
Yep. Let's get it.
New intro. Season 2, brother.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Everybody buckle your seatbelt.
Let's get a strap on.
Boss. All right, here we go.
Go ahead.
Say your energy. Say your energy.
This is how we go. We turn into 17-year-olds when the podcast.
Hey, do it.
What's going on, everybody? Today, we're going to discuss how you can unlock the potential of FHA 203k loans, offering deep dives into eligibility, application processes, and overcoming challenges. Learn through success stories how to transform properties and efficiently manage renovation funding. Whether you're buying or renovating, get the insider advice you need to succeed with 203k loans. Welcome to the Real Estate Wire, folks. What's going on, everybody? I'm Dan the Realtor.
Mortgage Coach Marcus.
And today we got a special guest.
Start up.
We got Dawnta.
Yeah, start up.
This guy's crazy, man.
Okay, here we go. What's going on, everybody? I'm Dan the Realtor.
Coach Marcus here. What's up?
And today we got a special guest. We got Dawnta Millions from All Techs.
Yes, sir.
No, we don't. We have
All Tech.
Dawnta Million from All Techs.
Yeah, Dawnta Million from All
You
Techs.
said millions.
Millions
But that's
and
my
all
nickname
Techs.
for him. Oh, I got the S's. I miss pluralized.
Giants, Walmarts, Shrimps.
Costco's.
Yeah, that's how you.
Oh.
You one of them? You one of them?
I'm black. I'm black. We
You
pluralized
one of them,
that
though.
early.
You one of them.
What's going on, Dawnta?
What's up, bro? I stand on that.
So your company, they do major home renovations, 203k renovations, commercial,
Yes.
real estate development. You've been doing great things in the community. You are a father of 3 young men.
Absolutely. 3 young, beautiful boys.
Yes, sir. And you actually own a farmer's market in Alexandria. You say Cameron Station, right?
Yes, Alexandria, Virginia. It's actually a seasonal market. It's open from the end of April all the way into December.
Okay. Love having you here, man. Thanks for coming
Thanks
through.
for having me. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks for coming, bro. One of the biggest problems I think a lot of our clients face, I'm sure you've run into a lot of this too, Marcus, is trying to afford buying a house, especially if it's their first time buying
Right.
in the DMV in general, DC, Maryland.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
the prices are crazy.
the prices are crazy, bro. And one of the things that they run into is, if I find a house that I like, it's too far out. right? And the ones that's closer are too expensive.
Mhm.
And so, like, a lot of these different middle grounds, we're going to be discussing a little bit today, some hacks for some of our buyers and future homeowners.
So there's also that middle ground of I don't want to go too far out to stay within my price range, and I can't be closer in to be able to, and try to buy $1 million property.
Right.
So that middle ground is I also don't really like the quote unquote ugly house that is in my budget and in the area.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, I think when you do run into that, okay, here's a house and it's close, it's in the neighborhood,
Right.
but the joint beat up and I don't have any real ability to fix the joint,
Right.
or a budget to fix the joint, or even where to start.
Right.
Permits, plumbing,
Design,
structure.
vision, design,
design.
just the fact that you don't know what you don't know,
Right.
and people think, oh, I can go build a house.
Right.
No, you can't just go build a house.
You can't.
Although Amazon, and you can't just go buy a house online. Although Amazon, shout out because y'all selling the house for $30,000 on Amazon.
Crazy. Because it's you gotta have the land first.
That's what I was thinking.
Utilities,
Yeah,
that was you know what they're doing? They're selling those houses, I believe, for in-law suites. I think that's what they're trying to target, because baby boomers, their time is progressing to staying at home now. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
So
yeah. There's so many opportunities to actually acquire a beautiful home. It's just how do you do it? How you do it the right way?
Right.
Where do you start? And that's why we have you here. Dan's here to talk about the actual sticks and bricks of it. I'm here to talk about the money. But when we're talking about renovating a property and taking that ugly house that can bring your vision to life, that's where you come in. You're the expert in that realm, right? We're gonna dive into that in a little bit.
Yeah. So let's get into it, man. Let's one of the things I really want to get kind of figure out and ask you as obviously, I thought you were a 203k, like straight up just 203k. The program is called FHA 203k, but you're just like, you're a general contractor,
Right. Yes, sir.
and you're basically, well, you're versed in everything. You can do pretty much anything. So tell us a little bit more about that.
All right, so I do commercial and residential construction, whether it's fitting out a business, remodeling a church, doing an office fit out, a restaurant, whatever the case may be, small business, large business. My company has the capacity to do that, as well as remodel a home, fully gut, renovate, additions, add-ons, whatever the case may be, redevelopments. You know, if you're trying to, for example, in the 203k, you're allowed to go up to 4 units, which is a residential dwelling, right? I do those. You know, a lot. If you see people have a one row house and they're turning it into 4 units, you know, because there's no space, there's nowhere to go. And the good thing is that the lender gives basically the rent that you are accounting for each month. They put that towards your income, you know, and you're able to actually turn that asset of that space that may have been ugly or started off that looked like it had no vision. Now you have a rental income property that, you know, you can keep for a long term. So those are some of the things that I help clients do, not just remodel your home as your dream, but also help you build generational wealth as well.
Yeah. What's your area? What's your range? I mean, you're Alexandria home based, but you extend out
to DC. So I'm only licensed in DC and Virginia.
Okay.
I specifically chose those regions.
Tell me why.
I feel like,
don't blow yourself up though, because
I feel like Maryland is hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
I like a certain consistency. I like a certain target. And DC is like, you can have business all in 5 square miles all at one time because it's so concentrated amount of people. So your time, most contractors don't go to DC because they don't like the parking issues or whatever. But I'm from this area, you know what I'm saying? And I know it well, so I know how to move around, you know, so it allows me to be successful in the city. And then there's also a surcharge because DC is a lot more difficult to do construction, even with just permits. You know, you're looking at a more lead time in DC than you would at Fairfax or Alexandria or Arlington because it's such a one municipal for all those people.
So let me ask you this question. Since we already, you know, on this topic, the permits. The average time that it should take for a contractor to obtain the permits when they really want to get the work done and they know they got a job, when let's say 203k and you can, most people don't know that you can finance up to 6 months of the mortgage payment into the loan. So
absolutely,
if it's a complete gut job, of course you can't live in the house, right? So but that mortgage payment is going to start within 45 days of closing, right? So you got to finance that. So a contractor trying to do this work and get it done within the time frame to benefit the buyer, the new homeowner, how long should it take a contractor to actually get the permits if he's really on his or her job?
So I'm gonna be honest, 203 needs to be restructured.
The entire program itself?
The process of how it goes, because it's not really 100% realistic. Because, for example, you can't fit that into every jurisdiction.
Okay.
Because DC just takes, for example, it might take you 3 months to get a permit. It might take you 6 months to get a permit. Terrible
for DC.
So that's a good that talks about that. So that's what we were talking about with our little client here, right? Our cautionary tale. You know, one thing you really have to focus on is the type of 203k contractor, if you're going to go this route, that you choose. How do you vet them? Like, how do you know that they're not just going to run off for 18 months and never do any of the work, and you're sitting here holding the bag? God forbid you end up caught having to pay a mortgage and try to find someplace to live, and they haven't finished the construction on your primary residence, right? So how would you say, what would you say is a good way to vet like the competence of somebody in your particular field?
All right. So I think, people talk about references, right? I think references is the worst thing because anyone can have anyone say anything for them.
We got a word for a word for that. The mortgages.
You know what I'm saying?
It's an F word.
So I
Fraud.
think yeah. So I think is having that contractor express his knowledge. The first thing I do when I approach a client is educate. But the first thing when they come to me, I start educating them, right? Even if they don't work with me, my blessings is with the universe. I'm good, but at least I gave you a knowledge that will equip you in your process, right? Because a lot of times, even if they get off the phone and say, well, I don't know if I'm going to do this now. This is a lot more than what I thought. See, because remember, they're watching HGTV.
Sure.
We're doing the real reality thing in the real world.
Yeah.
That we have a bureaucracy to go through. This is not television. You know what I'm saying? And clients don't understand that. They say, well, they did it 30 days.
They did it in 30 minutes.
You know what I'm saying? They built the whole house in 30 days. I'm like, well, that's not possible in the reality of this. And plus, you don't technically have the money.
Yeah.
The bank has the money. So that means when I sign as the GC or the contractor, it says I am your sponsor. That means I put my money up to sponsor your investment.
Which is the reason why we make sure that the work is done and then we compensate you after.
Absolutely.
You got to prove that you did $100,000
Exactly.
worth of work to get your $100,000 back.
Exactly. And it could get sticky because what if a client say, well, I don't want to sign the paperwork right now. Or it has a fit or an emotion. Then the contractor's put at risk because he is the sponsor of this person. Now you get talking about liens and different things like this. This is things that I have experienced in the 203k world. Sometimes in business, sometimes in construction, things don't always go the way the owner plans. A lot of times the owners want all the bells and whistles, right? But got beer money. No, it's okay.
Right.
But let's stop trying to buy champagne and just get the
you
beer for now.
You have to figure out basically what your job is as so you're the GC and you typically will put that person with a 203k consultant.
Yes.
So let's start from the beginning. And let's start from the beginning. What exactly is a 203k? 203k loan, and how does it differ from other types of loans?
So can I jump in real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
Because we're talking about the renovation, right? Renovation space. And on one side of it, you got a 203k, which is backed by FHA, a government loan, right? The other side of the house is backed by Fannie Mae, and that's called the home style, right? So if you need to do a renovation project, depending on you as a buyer, your credit, your income, your assets, you're going to go down the FHA road or you're going to go down the conventional road. And most commonly, you see people go down the FHA.
Because you get more out of the FHA. You know what I'm saying?
So let's figure out what actually is a 203k loan. People in the cheat sheets that don't know any of these terms. What's an FHA loan and how are they different from other loans?
So from my understanding from the GC side, basically it's just insurance. The government is insuring the loan, basically. They're backing the loan. You know, that's what it boils down to.
What's the 203k aspect of it?
So the 203k, you have different divisions, right? You have it's basically where you have it's like budget under 50,000, right? And then you have the budget of 50,000 and above, right? So you have the standard, and then you have I'm trying to
standard and limited, standard and limited,
limited. Okay, so the limited is one is 150,000 under. That's with little small repairs. If you want to paint your HVAC unit, do some floors, anything under 50k, 100k, 50k and above. Now you're going into the full-fledged 203k process because there's really no money up front at all unless you can provide receipts as a contractor for materials or something like that. That's the only way they will provide that.
However, so there's no money up front for the contractor.
So
the contractor is putting their money up to do the repairs, to pay the labor,
right?
And then you get reimbursed by the 203k from the bank.
Yes, the contractor is 100% at risk for the most part, right? Now, the client is at risk when the client is, for example, if she or he doesn't pick the right 203k consultant, because the 203k consultant is basically there to check the balances between the homeowner and the contractor, because most of the homeowners never dealt with this space before, right? They don't even
consultant acts as like a liaison
between the
like
bank,
a middleman,
right?
They can break down some of these terms, make it simple,
Absolutely,
for the buyer, for the homeowner, and they can basically distill a lot of this complex information down to you, the homeowner, so that you understand what's going on. And they're supposed to act on your behalf.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, you hire them because they have to pay them out of the 203k budget that is allotted for the 203k consultant. It's set aside every time for each bank, because the bank is basically, that's their foot's on the ground.
Yeah,
they're protecting their budget.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we got to make sure that if there are plans,
Right,
and if I financed you, giving you a $300,000 budget,
right,
and it costs $200,000 to acquire the property, just the structure of the property, and you need $75,000 worth of repairs, and we have a cushion for the $25,000. There you go.
Yep.
Now we're at $300,000. Ms. Buyer have to put down 3.5% of that $300,000. Right. So that's $10,500. I guess. Right. That's their investment into it. You do the work and you sub out the work, or however you organize that. But then you also have that 203k consultant that's making sure that all the paperwork and all the steps are being followed. Because as a lender, my money's on the line, and we potentially have, if things don't go right, that buyer's like, I'm not gonna do it. And they might be like, man, forget my credit or whatever. I'm not buying this house. We're gonna go into foreclosure. Now it's inventory.
It's all on the lender.
Yeah.
Falls back on the lender.
So we make sure that everything is I's dotted, T's crossed.
So you find a house close to where you want to be. It's in the neighborhood that you're looking for, and it needs some work. And there's two types. You can either go limited or full.
Yes.
Limited is anything under $50,000. Now you can basically fix anything that you want in there, right? HVAC up to
it's everything unless I think it's structural. I think if it's anything structural, it has to be. I think on the construction side, it has to be full.
Has to be full.
Yeah, I think if it's
so structural is like if you want to add an addition, or if you want to go up another level.
Yeah, because let's just say that addition was 50,000.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what I mean. I think they still gonna put that at a full.
As a structural, because of the amount of work that's needed.
Yeah, a full 203k.
Okay, so let me jump in real quick. So the number is actually 35,000. You said it.
I thought it was 35.
It's 35.
Okay, I thought it was 50.
No big deal. No big deal. So like, if you do a limited version, it's very consolidated as to what you can really do, and the max budget is 35,000. You go to the standard version of 203k. Now you can get into everything walls in. You can
2.6 million.
Yeah, you can do up to the
if you can finance for it.
Well, up to the FHA sets a loan limit for the county and the state. So like if the maximum number is 750,000 or whatever number, then if the house is 400,000, but you can afford up to 750, now you got a 300,000 budget.
Yeah, I
got a lady in Florida right now that she lives in Florida, moving up here. She wants to buy a property in Capitol Hill. That the max loan amount for FHA in DC was like close to 1.1 million or something like that. But the property, she's buying it for 700,000, and she wants to put somewhere around 300,000 into the deal. And of course that's not limited, but like now she's trying to figure out, does it make sense? And she's working with the lender who was but same situation like we were talking about. And called me to come clean it up like I'm Benson. So
believe it or not, I think the most important thing is, like, because when my name comes up on 203k project for a certain lender, they know, okay, yeah, this guy's about his business. So they look at that ticket. Let's get the paperwork processed. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Loan close. That's what they're looking for. Yeah. They're looking for that guy that that opens the permits, closes the permits. Yeah.
So how does the application process work for the 203k?
You're talking about for the homeowner?
Yeah, for the homeowner.
Well,
now, are you on that side, or is that?
That's me. That's me.
So how does that work, Marcus?
It's the same exact process. There's nothing different about it.
Yeah.
Now, application, credit, you send me pay stubs, bank statements, W-2s, and then I'm running it through the system, make sure that you're good to go. So
Right.
if it's a 200,000 excuse me, property acquisition, but then I'm talking with you and say, to get this house to where it needs to be, how much are they going to need to get it right? You say 100,000. Okay. Dan's gonna be 100,000, so we got to make sure the contract is written properly. But we're trying to finance at 300,000 total, knowing that 100 of it is going towards repairs,
Right.
and it's probably going to be done in stages.
Right.
So as you do the work, we kick out another 30.
Right.
Do more work, kick out another 30, and then we get to the end.
Right.
But that process is the same, and you run it through underwriting. You have the conditions. You have an appraisal.
And what about the credit requirements? Any different than just a normal purchase?
No, I mean, you're operating off of FHA requirements. Usually, your best scenarios are like 660 and above.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get it down. FHA at its core doesn't even have an credit score requirement, but down to
doesn't.
Well, right. But then you get to the lenders. FHA themselves don't have, VA themselves don't have it. But you get to different lenders, they say, well, 500 credit score and above, you got to put down 10%. 580 and above, you can put down 3.5%. But when you're looking at the renovation part of the 203k, now you're adding another layer of risk.
Right.
Because now we're dealing with
multiple parties.
There you go.
I already know how to go.
And you talk about a demolition of a property that could
end now.
We know a lot
all
of
the value's gone.
We know a lot of contractors. When the market crashed, contractors went out of business like this. So properties that were in construction, contractor goes out of business. That house is sitting there. It's framed, but ain't nothing in it, right? Because
that's what we got going on right now.
So now,
but now they can't value it anymore at the same value before it was demoed, because it technically was more valuable before it was demoed, because it had plumbing, it had this, it had that. Yeah.
So you just got to got to look and talk to your different lenders, because you might come into a situation where the minimum score is 620 on a renovation product. Better pricing, the higher your credit goes. And then in terms of interest rates, you're looking at a little bit of a bump to your rate because there's more risk there. So FHA loan standard with a 660 credit score, I can offer, let's say, 6% right now. But on a renovation side, you might be offering 6.5 or 6.7 because we got to offset the risk.
So, are you ready to take control of your family's future and legacy? Join us for Estate Planning 101. Protect your empire DMV. This event is more than just a seminar. It's an investment in peace of mind for you and your family. Saturday, February 24th, 2024, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Here's why you can't afford to miss this. Expert insights. You're going to be learning from top estate attorneys and financial experts who can break down some of this jargon and make it simple for you to understand. Discover custom strategies that cater to your unique situation, whether you're just starting out or you're updating an existing plan. Connect with like-minded individuals and professionals who are also on their journey to financial security. This event's ideal for everyone, whether you're a young professional, a parent, or nearing retirement. At Keller Williams Capital Properties, Bethesda, 4850 Rugby Avenue, Bethesda, Maryland. To register, either click on the link in our Instagram bio or click the link, I'll leave them down here in the show notes. Understanding estate planning is crucial for everyone. Take this step to protect your assets and ensure your wishes are honored. Now let's get back to the podcast. So what's one of your success stories of one of the 203Ks you recently done?
I have a few. I mean, we've done a few of those. So, I mean, I've done some for police officers.
Police officers. Tell us about that one.
So that one actually was an interesting process. It was actually a lady who contacted me, and she wanted me to do basically a whole addition, whole rehab. This is a DC property. And that process was very long because we had to obviously go through permits and all stuff. And then we had end up running into problems with Pepco and doing all this stuff with that. So the project actually, the addition and everything got finished, the framing, the drywall, all the way to that point went well. smoothly. This is a $300,000 project, right? And then we hit an issue with Pepco, right? I'm just giving you the reality. It was a great project. I put a lot of money into it. I still got money on it. It's still kind of sitting like the one you said right now, but it was really successful in how the process went. But when you run into things that you can't control as the GC or as the homeowner, now it kind of makes things.
What did Pepco do?
Just delayed the project for so long.
What did they want?
You know, so she had a wire coming through her house, and technically they usually would move it, right, and reroute it, but because it was connected to two other row houses, they would have to require them to upgrade their service. So they was like, we're not doing, you know how they get. We're not doing that.
They said it with the head moving there.
Yeah, she was stuck with it going through the basement. So during that process, you know, we end up basically just agreeing to, unfortunately, you know, pause the project. But because she wanted me to kind of finish the project, and it was $80,000 worth of money that I had to put in. I already $100K actually. I was already 80 grand in. You know, so that's unrealistic for me as a contractor. Homeowners, you really have to understand a good contractor. I'm not talking about the guys who take your money and run off. I'm talking about somebody who's accountable, who wants to do good business with you. We take so much risk because there's so many changes. There's so many things that happen that you don't see, that we don't tell you about. There's a lot of prices and stuff that go up. There's a lot of times we make a loss on a line item. You know, and you don't know, and we don't come to you and tell you, but we're putting this money up, and we have families too. You know what I'm saying? And we not financing you little money. Most projects that I do, I'm putting up 30 to 50K in the beginning to get everything rolling, because I got architects, I got my guys to roll, I got my subs that I have to engage, because the bank don't let no money go until all permits are in. So if I have to, when you think a plumber gonna pull a permit without making a deposit, you think an electrician gonna make it all the way down to the HVAC guy, right? So that's already $5 to $6 grand to start off with just 3 subs plus the architect.
So what's a sub for people in the chief seat?
A subcontractor is somebody who a GC or any contractor basically hires to provide a service under their license.
So you're the general contractor, all tax,
right?
And then you have a guy to do your electric, you got to do your plumbing, you got to do your sheetrock,
right?
You know, so these are different. Your concrete guy,
right?
You have
most of the guys who do the finishes are just labor tradesmen, right? They have specific trades that they do, but the guys that you really are looking at as major subs are guys who are doing structural things, guys who are doing things that cause risk or problems or harm, right? So those are the guys you want to vet the most, right? Everybody else, okay, if you paint wrong, I can just get rid of you. You know what I mean? A paint sub, but you can't be in here doing plumbing wrong. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? So how would they be able to get in contact with you?
Well, you can reach me at my office, 703-647-6561. You can send me an email, info@alltecsco.com. And yeah, I can help you with any kind of renovation you have in DC and Virginia.
That's very good. Very good.
Okay, and then so I got 2 more questions. One question, I want to talk about the future of real estate, where you think it's going to go. But before I ask you that one, for somebody that's considering using a 203k loan, if they've you know they made a decision that they want to buy a house, they already know, I'm tired of renting, obviously, and they feel like this is a good idea. What advice would you give them to ensure that they can maximize the benefits and kind of avoid some of the pitfalls that you and I have already seen?
Yeah, so the main thing is learn the process of 203k first. Understand what you're doing. Understand that this is not HD Chibi project. This is not going to happen fast. This is going to disrupt your life for 6 months to a year. Okay, the way your life was running is not going to run the same while you got this going on.
Yeah.
You need to know that things about to be a little bit more chaotic in your life. Okay, because this is an asset and your name is attached to it. You know, so I would think to let them know, just be a little bit more serious about the process. Be educating yourself as much as you can so that you're not confused, so that you're not lost. I mean, it's your money at the end of the day.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? So don't play with it, you know, and just be wise and obviously who you choose as a contractor.
Last question that we ask all our guests. Where do you see real estate? I want to add 203k to this too. Where do you see real estate, 203k loans, construction, the world of construction and rehab? Where do you see that in the role of real estate agents, contractors? Where do you see that 20 years from today?
Well, you got to think about it. Every home that was pretty much built, for the most part, was for families of the size of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, right? So the whole American geography is really on a transformation because families are larger, bigger, people need more space. Right, so all the homes that you usually go into, they're usually too confined. They don't make sense anymore.
Bro, but you know what's crazy though? Like, I agree with you, but actually, it's the opposite though, right? Like, families were
family
bigger.
sizes.
Families were bigger. Everybody had like 12 kids, like 10 kids, but the houses were smaller. And it was like you go into it and they're all compartment. Like, you go into any house in DC, like, how was y'all even living up in there? But it was like 8 kids.
But I'm not sure what geography you're talking about, because black people and Latinos constantly having babies.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like of course we are, but like just like family size and you know, with the economy, people having less kids. Most people have 1 or 2 kids now. People used to have like 6 kids. My dad was a family of like 3. My mom was a family of 3. Our cousins had like 8, not like 6 kids. I got one with 12. When I used to grow up, all the church families had like 11 kids.
Yeah, true.
You know, it'd be like that. And now everybody just had like 1 or 2. But the houses weren't bigger. They were smaller than they are. Now we got these big, huge houses up in Marlboro, Bowie, you know, Lanham, Waldorf. But everybody got like 1 or 2 kids.
Yeah.
Like, you an outlier because you got 3 boys.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like when you ride through Virginia, Fairfax, or certain places, right, you can see that the developments are no longer what is needed for the future. So redevelopment is what I see. Is what I see across the board. Because those buildings that are old, built in the 40s, the 60s, you know, they can only last for so long.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
and
true.
most people that's living in these places, even if they inherit it, they need renovation because they haven't had no renovation. So I see that, yes, the market has been kind of fluctuating because of the numbers mainly, but it doesn't mean that people don't need homes. There's still a lot of homelessness. You know?
And there's, I mean, the building is going west and south, right? I mean, you're landlocked in most areas, especially DC. I mean, you got to go vertical. I want to ask a question. So there's 2 things: 3D concrete printed homes. You heard of those?
Yes.
Okay. And ICF homes. You know what ICF?
No, we use ICF.
ICF homes are almost like I'm not going to say Legos, but they put it together.
Okay, modulars, basically.
It's not so modulars
like prefab, like a mix between like prefab.
Those are built in the warehouse, and you bring them out on a flatbed and you put it together with the double wall. I'm talking about it's kind of like a concrete construction, but it's more like center block, if you will, right? And then they fill it.
I gotta do my research.
I've seen them.
Yeah, see, so look into ICF because there's not a lot of contractors in the area that are doing.
What do you think about that, bro?
The technology is I want to look at it before they come back.
But you know about 3D printing.
3D printed concrete.
I thought that was crazy.
What do you think about that, bro?
Yeah, that's what I'm really interested about that.
I think that's only gonna work for people who actually have land, but people who live in the city, that's not gonna. It's going to be very difficult to turn anything digital in a city, I believe, because it's too congested. It's
suburbs you can probably get away with.
Yeah, maybe even here because there's space to move something, right?
Yeah.
That's why I said it has to have land. think that's
You gotta
only
have
for
the space.
homeowners with some sort of land, some sort of acreage.
There's a guy that, excuse me, it's really started to pop off, I think, in like New York and Connecticut and things. I saw a video on another podcast I follow, and he had a guy who actually has a neighborhood that he's been doing it, and he's developed this neighborhood where there's like 8 homes. He's done it, and they're on the market. You know, like some of them already been sold. It looks to me like the next wave. But of course, just like when DVD players first came out, Blu-ray players first came out, like they cost so much, right?
Yeah.
But then after a few years, you can get a DVD player $15, right?
There ain't no more DVD players.
Right. But I think that like now that this technology is still so brand new, it will eliminate the need for a bunch of employees, right?
Subs and stuff,
right? But the cost will come down because you don't have high margins.
More home ownership. It would deliver the cost to the owner
and quicker, right?
Like, unless like with everything, unless the government gets involved.
There's the conspiracy theory.
No conspiracy theory, bro. If the government gets involved with 3D printing, you can guarantee it will be less efficient and more expensive. That's just what they do.
Meaning that they control that type of...
Because they're going to, they got to hire people.
Get involved.
They're going to
still have to do inspections. They're still got to...
No, but I mean, like, if they basically say, only these companies are allowed to do 3D printing in Maryland, and only these companies are allowed to do 3D printing in California. And you have to stay in your specific state. Just like healthcare, it's going to go through the roof. Nobody's going to be, because there's not going to be any competition. Because if I say, well, I got a 3D printing company, and I can go to Ohio, I can go to Florida, I can go to here, right? I can compete with any other quote that you get from any other person. Then that's going to force honesty in that industry, because it's like, well, like car insurance, you can buy your car insurance anywhere. You can buy from Progressive, you can buy from Allstate, you can buy from State Farm, because they're not forcing you. The government's not involved in it, right? It's not like, you have to buy in Maryland. You can only buy State Farm. Well, hey, if I'm the only show in town, I'm gonna charge you $1,000 a day, right?
That's crazy, but
yeah.
Good one, man. I appreciate you for coming on, brother.
Absolutely.
We met years ago, bro. When I was down on F Street down at in DC, man.
Yeah, I know.
How did you just hollered at me?
You lost the bet. That's when you lost the bet.
How that
I lost it later. It was we met at a coffee shop. I must have been on Instagram, bro. Must have just been on Instagram.
Yeah, and then we linked up at a coffee shop.
We linked up at a Starbucks around the corner from where I used to live.
Yeah.
Was that the day I found out your last name? No, that was the second time I think we met. We met some other time for something. I don't remember what it was.
Probably one of these clients you.
Oh, yeah. And I was like,
you had me one time. You had me going way somewhere. Looking for you. You had some young.
I know. I gotta tell you a story about them, bro. They did me dirty, bro.
They did me so they had dirty, you going bro. Out west.
That was it was Al. What was the name of it? Al? I can't. It was something down south, like Waldorf, Imagery, Aqua. I
don't know. It was further than that.
Aquia?
Is that Maryland?
No,
it's not Stafford. It's like in between, like Waldorf. I think it's like down in that Waldorf Brandywine area.
Yeah, something down there.
Anyway, but you always show up, bro. You always show up. You're always professional, man.
Yes, sir.
You do great work. You're not the cheapest, you're the best, bro.
Yeah, that's what I think. I appreciate it. I strive, bro. I strive. Yes, sir.
Don't go for the cheap route. Don't go for cheap work, man. Trust me, y'all. If you're looking for a 203k contractor or consultant, if you're looking to buy a house and you want to do 203k, reach out to Dawnta Million, because he'll put you in touch with everybody. And like I said, he's legit. He knows his deal. You heard him here. One more time, bro. Where can they find you at? Your website and your info. They want to get in contact with you.
Get in contact with me at 703-647-6561. That's my office number. And you can email me at info@alltecsco.com.
Awesome. And where can they find you at, Coach Marcus?
At Fields Mortgage Group and at Mortgage Coach Marcus on Instagram.
And I am Dan Wheeler, Sells Homes on all platforms. For all of us here at the Real Estate Wire Podcast, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. My man.
Thank you for jumping on. We are out.
You ain't gonna do it?
Oh, solid.
Season 2.